All right, everybody, today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 Nissan Altima SL. It's a pretty good design. I like the color. The wheels are a little bit too flat for me. I don't really like the way they're designed. They could use a little bit more depth to them, but they are factory wheels that can be changed. So I do not like this black piece back here. Looks like it'll get dirty and scratched up and look pretty bad. This is a used car, so it's not perfect right now. So in case you're seeing any scratches or dents or anything like that, that's why. It takes 87 octane gas, so it's not going to break your bank when you fill it up, which is pretty good in my opinion. Overall, the lights are pretty good. They're pretty bright, so you're able to see at night, and I have done some night driving with this vehicle. I can tell you it's pretty good. Of course, you got a sunroof here, and what else do we got? I like the design of the taillights. Very angular, very mean looking. The back end's a little bit uneventful. They could use a little lip spoiler here, which would make it look a little bit better. But aside from that, it's a pretty good looking little car. Moving on to the interior, it's a little bit dirty. I've been using this for a couple days. You do have a sunroof here. Not sure if that's standard. You have some wood trim, which looks, it looks all right. It's fake wood trim, as good as it'll look. So you have leather seats that are perforated as well. You have pretty good storage space in this little cubby here, so that's not bad. Of course, you have your glove box here. Two map pockets in the doors. Of course, there's cup holders in the back seats in case your passengers have drinks or something. Very cold AC. Of course, it works well when it comes to heat as well. And you have, speaking of heat, you have heated seats and heated steering wheel. That's very impressive for a car of this class and this price, which is around $30,000 for this trim. Heated steering wheels, my mom's Cadillac doesn't even have a heated steering wheel, believe it or not, so that's pretty impressive. I find that very nice. Automatic windows on the front two-door windows there. Of course, automatic up and down, and the rear the passengers there, they get regular up and down windows. Moving on to the display, it's very nice, but the responsiveness is not quite there. I mean, see, I'll select map here, and it'll take a little bit. It'll, if you're not used to it, you'll be pressing this over and over again. You'll just be wondering why it's not working. So that's a little bit of a low point there. But of course, you got Bluetooth audio, navigation. It connects to your phone and everything, which is great. So there's nothing to worry about there. In terms of the steering wheel, you got sort of a flat bottom steering wheel, which looks pretty good. I do like flat bottom steering wheels. You got the sort of crash avoidance system here. That's pretty handy. Never used it, which I really don't want to, because that means I'm doing something wrong. It shows you your speed limit on the road you're on, the time, the temperature, all the regular stuff, your actual speed you're going. Of course, your tachometer is here, your RPM is here. Both are analog, they're not digital. Moving on, you have audio up and down, you have skip track and reverse, which is great. I don't like reaching over and doing that, it's very distracting, so having it on the steering wheel is absolutely wonderful. I love it. For the transmission, we have your regular CVT. It has a sport mode. You select this little button down here right below the shift knob, and it'll pop a little S up there, but we're not going to be using that today. It's just a regular Altima, so no turbo, just a 2.5 liter, but I will say it's pretty peppy and it does pretty well. Let's see here. Turning is great. The steering is very, very, very light. If I were to do a little bit more with the steering, I'd probably make it a bit heavier. Another thing I don't really like about this Altima, it feels as if the blinker is a little bit farther away than you would like. In my old car, and my BRZ, which is in the shop right now, I was just, I could click it with my fingers nice and easy, but this one, I find myself reaching to grab it, and I have relatively large hands for a guy my age, so that's just one thing I need to have considered for the people who have smaller hands than me. But it's a very quiet ride, very luxurious. Let's see. Brakes work great in this vehicle. They're very touchy though. I mean, you barely touch the brakes and you're slowing down very quickly. On this little back road here, getting to test out the steering and the handling a little bit. It's quite nice. It gets up to speed all right. I wouldn't say it's neck breaking or anything like that, but it's okay. All right, coming up to a little tight spot here. Got to turn around. This will test our turning radius. All right, not bad. Of course, you get a backup camera as standard. Since most new vehicles have it, I think it's actually a requirement now. All right, avoiding in the old Altima. All right, moving on. Yeah, it's a very smooth ride. The one thing I don't like about the CVT though, it does bog itself down a little bit. So when you're cruising around, it sort of likes to stay below, 2,000 RPM, and that can be sort of slow, if you know what I mean. Like, you press on the gas and it doesn't always respond the way you want it to, it takes some time. So that's one thing I just don't really like about this car. But overall, can't really complain. It does pretty good for itself. As we can see, the speed limit's 30 on this road. It's showing 30 on my dash here. Going 35. Well, I'm going 30. All right. Thought I was going faster than I was, which isn't always a bad thing. Everybody likes to speed around here, so if you can make a car that feels faster than it's going, I guess that's one good way to slow people down. Visibility out the front is pretty good. I don't really have very many blind spots. Speaking of which, we do have blind spot monitoring, so that's nice. It's helped me out quite a few times. Sometimes there's someone just right in your blind spot and you can't see them, and that little light right here, actually, it's on the other side as well. It pops up when they're in your blind spot, and it really does help you stay safe on the road out there, especially on the highway. That's a big one. Again, these brakes work just fine. You're not gonna have any issues with these. And off we go. Now when you're cruising around and you want to kick it into sport mode, as I said before, you press this little button and you'll notice it brings the RPMs up, and then it will give you a little bit more responsiveness. Now, of course, it is still an Altima, so it's nothing to rave about. It's not very fast. It's an economy car that you use to get around every day, but I can tell you this, it is faster than my BRZ, which is not much of a achievement, but at least it's not horribly slow. Of course, you got your aux and inputs down here in this little cubby hole. I have a cigarette lighter as well. Just driving through these neighborhoods here, the roads are kind of bumpy, and I can tell you right now, the Altima is handling it very well. They did the suspension great on this car. The seats are incredibly comfortable. The suspension is really, really comfortable. I wouldn't say it's squishy. I would say the seats are they're kind of soft. The seats are very soft, so they're not really meant to hold you in that well. So don't expect to be taking turns in this thing at 50 miles an hour and staying in one spot. You're definitely gonna have to hold on to a couple things here. All right. Interior noise is not that bad. These tires aren't new, so if that tells you anything about how quiet this interior is, it's pretty great. In a BRZ, which is the main car that I'm comparing this thing to, not because it's a competitor, but because of what I've spent the most time in. I'm very used to loud sports cars, cars that are not exactly well insulated, and I can tell you right now, this is a quiet car. My mom's Cadillac ATS-V is louder than this. Not really exhaust-wise, but road noise-wise, which is quite impressive. So Nissan, they did a great job insulating this car and keeping it quiet. Now the main competitor for this car, I believe it's the Toyota Camry. The Toyota Camry has been around for a long time, and I can tell you right now, it's a close match. My sister drives a Camry of the same year, and I can tell you right now, it's pretty close. These cars are very similar in the way they drive. My sister's car has a little bit of a heavy steering feel. So when you're in this car, don't expect as much driver feel. And my sister's car has an automatic transmission instead of the continuously variable transmission, or the rubber band transmission as most people call it. So, you know, you have differences. And if I were to go with one, I'd probably go with a Camry. Why? Because I just like an automatic transmission better than I do a CVT, but of course that's down to preference. The seats are nicer in the Altima. The air conditioning works just as fine. The ride quality is about the same. But in terms of quietness, the Altima is quieter. So if you want a quieter car, you go for the Altima. So what do you get for $30,000? You get a comfortable car. And I can tell you right now, if I was spending $30,000 on a car, this wouldn't be my first pick. But for those of us out there who have family, you know, who have kids, and you know, just need a reliable, you know, affordable ride to work, I would probably say this is the one for you. It gets great gas mileage, it's very comfortable, very quiet, and it's got plenty of creature comforts. Great sound system, you know, perforated leather seats, amazing air conditioning, heated steering wheel. I haven't seen a heated steering wheel in a $30,000 car in a while, so Nissan, you're doing things right. I'm pretty excited for the Z prototype as well. I'll be seeing if I can make a video on one of those when they come out, which is gonna be a while from now, but crossing my fingers I could get a hold of one. But yeah, I'd have to say for $30,000 this is quite a good car. Not very sporty, but very comfortable. A few other things I like to mention about this Altima here. I like the crash avoidance system. I feel like that's a pretty good thing to have in this car, or any car in general. I feel like that should be a safety standard at this point, just because, you know, it would help avoid so many parking lot accidents. And I like the electric adjustable seats. They really are able to put you in a position that you're comfortable in, and you're able to stay there for a long time and not get fatigued while you're driving. So that's a very nice thing as well. Of course, the Bose audio system, it functions perfectly. It's very nice, very audible. So yeah, this is a great little car. I recommend it for anybody who's looking for a mid-size sedan and they like leather, good sound system, navigation, of course, bells and whistles like heated steering wheels and seats. You know, this is one of those cars where it's not focused on performance, it's more focused on, you know, comfort. That's a great thing. Nissan doesn't need to make every car a performance car because they got the Z card. So that's my overall summary of this vehicle here. Thank you for watching Ryan's Speed Lab, and please keep an eye out for my other videos and subscribe, and be sure to comment. Tell me what you thought about the video, and yeah, have a good one.